Yes, hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the only podcast that is remotely ready for the draft. Joining me remotely, hence my gag that I thought was funnier and you boys gave me nothing. Danny Webb, AGSAU, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. I feel like you need to touch on the fact that we are doing it remotely because we've got a really, really big thing coming later this afternoon.
Which will come out in the next... Yeah, well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later on, I'm sure. Charlie, you've...
Tantalising hook there.
You are
I am on the clock.
Ready to go.
I am draft ready. Look at that. And as always, I'm always draft ready because I watch draft day more times a year than most people should. But
have you watched it yet this year?
I have watched it this year. I have, and I might even sneak in another viewing before the draft. There's a chance because it was a really good experience. What happened though? I was very full of sport because I went with my 11-year-old to gather round in Adelaide, and it was properly great. If I can talk about a different football for 1 second, it was like everyone should do it. It's the closest thing I think Australians have to a proper religious pilgrimage is going to gather round in Adelaide, and so I was in a very sports mindset, and I watched Moneyball, and then I just I had to back. I was like, I got to keep watching sports movies, and so I rolled into draft day. It was a pretty good time. I will say last weekend was a good weekend for me.
And
I know we talk about it all the time about having like a watch party for the draft. Let's scrap that. Let's just have a draft day movie watch party. Way better.
Yeah.
We know what's going to happen.
We got it. Yeah. It's funny. And I got a fair idea of how the draft's going to go too.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Well, so for those that have listened, this is a good little throwback to your first chat with us way back when. They'll know that you're an Essendon fan. So the fact that your pilgrimage ended in a 317-day
losing streak.
It ended.
Drought
the
being
finished.
broken.
The drought finished. The Toads were gone. All of those, godly things.
It was properly amazing. And the thing is, because I went there with my 11-year-old, and I grew up watching Essendon win some grand finals, right? Like I've been at 4 winning Essendon grand finals in my lifetime. And so I have a son who has not known the experience of Essendon being good. And so we were heading over there. We've been planning. Yeah, we've been planning this for a couple of years. And to go and going over, I was like, look, it's just going to be good to be there. Don't, trying to soften the blow of the fact that the Bombers were going to have their asses handed to them. And then when they won, it was like completely unexpected. So the low expectations have been pushed right down, and they won. And then this will only mean something to Essendon fans, but sitting a row in front of us was Terry Danaher, who was captain of the 84-85 premiership side. And I got my photo taken. My son and I got a photo taken with Terry Danaher, got a footy signed. It had everything. It was such a good game. Great experience. So do it. Do it at some point.
I'm sure the Browns fans will experience this at one point in their life as well, which would be nice.
Absolutely.
Let's get into the draft. We are a week away from the draft now. But Charles, you've got a story that you guys broke to me, which sounds like I should have known more about.
Yeah, so this news story, I think it broke about a week ago, but there's been it's sort of been a slow-moving catastrophe and a lot of controversy around it. And the basic story is this. There's a reporter for The Athletic, which got bought by the New York Times. So by virtue of that is a reporter for the New York Times, Diana Rossini, who is what is termed an NFL insider. And, we know Schefter, we know Rap Sheet, we know these insiders. They're the people who have very cozy relationships all around the league. And it's often with the agents doing the deals, or it's with the teams, and they are an avenue for messages to get out to the media. And a lot of time we talk about how good the stories are in NFL. It's these insiders who are the ones that break these stories. So this controversy, though, someone took photos of Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel, the Patriots coach, at a relatively remote, exclusive private hotel, sort of out on a balcony, hugging and holding hands, looking very familiar with each other. And there were various stories that came out. Vrabel put a story out that he happened to be at that hotel on a boys' trip and they stopped in for lunch and they were moving on and she was there for something else. But there was a real closeness and familiarity in these photos. Like it's hard to look at them and not think that there is something beyond hey, how you going, coincidentally bumping into each other situation. And it has led over time. At first, she put out a statement like it wasn't really a thing and whatever you saw, it was no big deal. We just happened to be there. He said something similar, but by the end of the week, she has resigned from the New York Times over it. So she's lost her job because it raises real questions about how she's going about getting her stories. There is obviously a double standard here that no NFL coach is going to get fired just for having, have a photo taken with a woman that's not his wife. I mean, he will obviously have personal repercussions for that, I'm sure. But there's the question I want to put to you guys is, and this has sort of been inside me a little bit, as I watch the media, are insiders good for the NFL? Or I don't want to get into the journalistic ethics of what she did and what he did. I think obviously something's gone on there that's beyond the arm's length of what journalism should be. She's not being a journalist. It's something else. But the insiders, it's like every time a trade is done, it's the race of the insiders to see who can tweet it the first and plug the agents and talk about how good the agents are doing. Often you see the size of a deal and it seems enormous. And then 3 days later, you read the detail and it wasn't as big as it was reported. But the insider is reported in a way that the agent looks really good. Are they good for the NFL? Are they good for the game? Do we not care as long as we have all the gossip, or are we going to find out who's got a deal anyway?
My first thing, Danny, it looked like you had something very pertinent to say, but it feels like to me that it's a race to be first, not a race to be right, and that's what I don't like, that side of things. I don't really give a shit who puts their name to it and says that they've broken it, but it's very much a race to who said it first. Danny?
If we get rid of the insiders, how are we going to know who's picking what 10 seconds before it's announced? Yeah, I don't know if it's good for the NFL, and I don't it's weird. It's a really unique thing, I think, for us, especially living in Australia, to have these insiders doing this sort of stuff. Normally when we get news broken about players getting traded in within Australian sports, it's it's because it's officially already been done, rather than the agent leaking it or whatever they're doing to an insider. So I think it's quite a unique thing for us to watch. I find it relatively entertaining. With a lot of things, I think with American sport, you got to take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt. So if they're not reporting something completely accurate, that's fine. I find it quite entertaining. I do like seeing that, Ian Rappaport will say that, Mendoza's gone first 10 seconds before the Raiders announce the pick. I really enjoy that. I think it's funny.
And watching any of their shows, NFL Live, and you're seeing that.
They're
on the phone,
guys, I got it.
Oh, yeah. Rap Sheet's got something. What are you going to? Oh, no, I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I'll break it soon. I've got to break it on my sources first. And then he steps away, breaks it, comes back. Oh, I just broke this news. But, yeah. And there were so many jokes about her being the first insider there that I really couldn't. We had to stay away from.
I can't remember if it was Schefter or Rappaport. One of them, during the draft period last year, checked his phone usage time, and it was 23 hours out of 24 in a day period.
Ooh.
It's not a job I want. I don't like looking at my phone at the best of times.
No.
And you boys would know that because I screen a lot of calls.
We know.
Yeah.
We know. We definitely know. Yeah. Interesting one. Like you said, Vrabel, besides personally, I don't think there's going to be too much blowback on him through this, but
well, I mean, what's Robert Kraft going to do? Robert Kraft hasn't got a clean history himself. He's not going to go, now, fella, we try to run an ethical organization around here. No cheating on the field, no cheating off the field.
He's also, Didn't he have a massage parlor problem?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yep. No, we are 100% clean. They're also cheats on the field. So
yeah, that's it.
Perfect. All right. Charles, you ended last week's episode. It was nearly a rant. You were make sure you go check out Sonny Styles. He is he is the draft prospect of all draft prospect. He is going to
Here's the truth.
change a organization's future. So it sounds like he's going pretty high, Charlie, from in your books.
Yeah, he will. It'll be interesting to see. I think it will come down to on the Sonny Styles question, and there's a few little good questions we're going to ask about the draft in this podcast. The Sonny Styles question is how much are teams attached to what they consider their position of greatest need, and how much do they actually want to pick the best player on the board? There are some great players in this draft at almost all the positions. There's some elite talent in this draft. But, even if there are teams, it depends. We could get into this in a different way, but I think we had a question from a Miami Dolphins superfan, did we not?
We did.
How they were going to pick.
He's our super fan, Roscoe. He's put it to you guys. He wanted a full breakdown of what the Dolphins are going to do, but I was going to put it to you. What are they taking first? Where are they starting the rebuild? But it sounds like you've got a few things, Charles.
Well, there's a few things, but I think this is pertinent to the Sonny Styles conversation for me, because you look at the Dolphins and they've got the second most picks in this draft. They've got 11 picks. And they've got 7 picks in the top 100. So they are going to do very well. We've talked a lot in the offseason about how they gave everything away, traded everything away, but they are set to stock up. They're doing a rebuild in a good way. Hopefully their new quarterback can actually have some people to throw to. Their biggest hole, and I think we were talking about this off air, is their offensive line. There's no one there. And they need a tackle or a guard, the interior offensive line. Spencer Fano is probably the best prospect, that they could get their hands on early on, and he would be a great get. They also, I think they're likely to look at a Malachi Lemon or a KC Concepcion, a receiver to complement Jalen Waddle, I think is a prospect. But I would say again, if you're the Dolphins and you've got the opportunity high up in the draft, Sonny Styles is right there, and he is the kind of player that resets everything. He sets a tone on a defense. I know every year everyone has their draft favorite and talks someone up, and they don't always work out. But Miami is one of those teams that can easily go offensive tackle, could easily go wide receiver, but I think their best decision would be to get a Sonny Styles.
So on that, I'm just going to jump in real quick because it's related to one of my main points. Do you think at 11, Sonny Styles is going to drop that low, or are Miami going to have to trade up for him?
Yeah, I think they would have to trade up for him, but they've got the draft capital to do it. That's the thing. They've got 11 picks. They can actually make a trade like that and get up. That's what I'm saying.
So I've got one for you. I'm going to throw it straight back, and it's all revolving around Sonny Styles. I think he's going to go at pick 6, and currently the Browns have pick 6. But the team that I think is actually going to trade up for him is Jerry. And you might not believe it, because we talk about Dallas and Jerry making all the wrong decisions, but Dallas's defense was horrific last year, and Jerry's already come out very publicly and said, "I'm going to fix the defense in this draft." So I really can see Dallas jumping up, doing a trade. Changing some picks later down the line so it all works out for him, but jumping from 12 to 6 to get Sonny Styles, because you are so right. He is the sort of player that will change your defense and completely shift it and the culture. So trading up to get someone like Sonny Styles is going to be great, but I just don't think the Dolphins are going to be able to do it. I reckon it's on the Cowboys.
Now, this is a 2-step question. All of the answers are obvious. Who did the Cowboys trade away that ruined their defense?
Michael Parsons.
That's right. Who is the kind of guy you look at his tape and think he could do the kind of Parsons things on the field? Parsons was so not fixed to any particular role or position. It was hey man, go do Micah Parsons shit and shut it down. Sonny Styles is that guy. He's exactly that kind of talent that they need. I think it's a great point, Danny.
He ran a 4.46, Sonny Styles. That's quick. I don't know if Parsons run that quick. I love Parsons. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he run that quick.
Parsons is like kind of like a Coke machine with legs. Like he's stacked. He's a big fella.
Yeah, you're not running through him. So yeah, the Dolphins. I just want to try. If we get a trade moving up, like I don't know if you boys remember a couple of years ago, the Texans making some real wild moves early, first, second, third picks. That was awesome. So if we get a trade in the first 10, I think that's what we want. That's what we need to be rooting for. Packers don't have any picks. So I'm rooting for other teams to start making trades and start making it more fun.
Who was it last year that was just dancing around making sure? Was it the Giants were trading early and ended up with two absolute crackers?
Yes, they did.
Like they did such a good job.
That's what we want. Makes it.
I'd tell you another team that probably would be looking to move a very decent pick is probably the Cardinals. So Cardinals lost Kyler Murray or traded Kyler Murray, however that ended up working out. Probably looking for a QB, but the QB in this draft prospect isn't great. So you got Mendoza, and then probably next best is Ty Simpson. You don't really want to be paying Ty Simpson, what do they have, pick 3 or pick 4? That sort of money. So realistically, they could be looking at moving back down the board because they know no one else is really probably going to pick up Ty Simpson, moving back down the board to then get more draft capital to then still get Ty Simpson later down the line. Or do they look to, shore up their offensive line like everyone else? It is crazy how many offensive linemen are potentially going to get drafted in this. Like the odds on they're going over 7.5 in the first round, so 8 people getting picked, is only getting paid $1.50. Like it is almost guaranteed that there's going to be more than 8 offensive tackles drafted in the first round.
Talking about that, do you see more than Mendoza? Like if Ty Simpson doesn't get picked up, is he really the only other quarterback that could go in the first round?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what this draft class kind of is, unfortunately.
We've known that for a while. How many times have we said throughout the season that you're waiting for next year's draft if you're wanting a quarterback? Like you're not going and chasing a quarterback this year's draft.
And Mendoza is, I think he's a middle of the pack.
I didn't want to be rude, but yeah, I agree.
He's a middle of the pack quarterback. He might be. We all used to talk about the Andy Dalton line. Like how Andy Dalton was the middle of the quarterbacks. Like he was good enough to always be a starter and could win some games for you, but he was the line of good or versus bad quarterbacks. And I think it'll be the Mendoza line before too long. I think that's where he's going to end up. And hey, prove me wrong, Mendoza.
Yes, please. I'm the same. I'm not a believer just yet, but for the Raiders fans, I hope he is. But
I hope he's great
draft when the number 1 pick is the middle of the line.
Yeah,
to be like, he could be good, he could be shit.
But to me, it's like that's, if you're really about best player available, maybe Mendoza is a first round talent. Maybe he's a 20th. 22nd, 23rd. There isn't another quarterback that is first round talent in this draft.
And at the end of the day, like the Raiders do need a QB. That's why they are going to take him first. They need a QB, and they need someone that they can have as a franchise QB. And maybe, like you boys said last week, being under Kirk Cousins is the right answer to help shape him in the future
and Brady
forward.
And Brady, let's not forget
Brady,
that.
yes. And
if we're going 23rd pick, Charles. The Philadelphia Eagles are taking Mendoza at the 23rd pick. Let's hope
no chance. I love our backup QB. We don't need Mendoza. But seeing you brought up Philly, I'm just going to touch on it. Like,
what do you need?
Well, what we really need is an offensive tackle. I know you boys are going to say we're going to need a wide receiver because Brown's getting traded, but Howie's already come
exactly what I was going to say, Danny.
My issue with that is if we're not trading up to get like a Mekhi Lemon, which I reckon will probably go like around that 13-ish mark, or even like settling for like a Omar Cooper Jr., but I still reckon they're going to go in like the mid-teens. So then after that, I don't think it's worth it when we're dropping down to the 23s. It'd be much better to pick up an offensive tackle like Blake Miller as an example, who should be around that mark there. So then we can start replacing like players like Lane Johnson. Like as much as he's been amazing and like he's been a cornerstone of that offensive line, he was so injured last year. He was in and out of the lineup the whole time. Like he's like hanging on by a thread. He's almost like the Jason Kelsey of now, like who continue to play through injuries because he wanted to be there and like, be that offensive line for this team. But it's starting to break. It's all starting to break. So I think, just like I said for everyone else, give us an offensive lineman, please.
Just to bump it up to 9.5. And just looking through, I've had many mock drafts. I'm into the Mel Kiper mock draft I feel like a bit of Adam Schefter looking away on my phone as we're doing this. There's a number that keeps, a name that keeps popping up, Danny Boy. Ruben Bain Jr. Mel Kiper in this one has him going number 8 to the New Orleans Saints. What have you heard?
Really interesting on Ruben here. So apparently he should have been going even higher than that, but he's starting to slide. And what they're calling it is the short arm slide. So apparently he has sub 31-inch arms, which, very important measurement in the NFL. And he is starting to slide down the draft board because his arms are too short.
So he's a big defensive end. So this is one where you could almost say, like, I know that the quarterback hand is always a big thing, and I wouldn't be a quarterback with the size of my mittens. But with a big D end, having short arms is a thing because
it is a
the
big
offensive
deal.
line can just reach through you and you're not going to get through. So this might be one metric where you're going, you know what? Short arms could be a real issue.
I used to, when I started following the NFL and following the draft, and they would, people would write off a player because of short arms. I still had that narrative in me that, nah, man, if he's got self-belief, if he tries hard enough, he's going to make it. Statistically, no. Like, statistically, 31 inches is how long your arms need to be. And he can be great, and he can have all the heart, and he can try, and he could be outstanding. But the draft is a bet on the future. And the odds that you get with sub 31 inches, the odds just aren't good that it's going to work out. It's like anything below, 9.5-inch hands in most positions, no good. It's just the truth of it. Quarterbacks who are 6 feet and below, if you're a sub 6 foot quarterback, you just can't hit slot receivers in the middle of the field. It just doesn't happen.
You can't see them.
You can't see them.
I need to try to find a ruler. I don't know what mine. I reckon my hand is about 6 inches, something like that. It's pretty small.
Yeah, little baby hands. We call you extra small gloves.
The last one, I don't know what you boys have got. The last player I want to ask you about, and I think he's going to be a great fit. I think he goes early, is Jeremiah Love as a running back. I think he's going to go early, and I like that Tennessee Titan kind of fit. They're going to start picking up some real great head coach now who's made some awesome moves already. Cam Ward's going to be a superstar in the making, I think. They've made some outrageous moves with their jerseys. I love their new jersey that's just come out. I think I'm going to buy a Cam Ward jersey just to get that real powder blue that they've got.
Wow.
And I reckon Jeremiah Love at number 4 slotting in there. Hopefully no one takes him earlier than that because I think that's Tennessee Titans almost a favourite for the down south.
Yeah, it's interesting. Jeremiah Love to me is, along with Sonny Styles, Jeremiah Love is my other big question for this draft. It's how high does he go? Because I still think a lot of teams make the mistake of thinking that running back is a low-value position. And the idea that there's a lot of teams that would still have the conventional wisdom you never pick a running back in the first round. It's not worth it for the position. I've got to say, if you pick a great running back in the first round and you've got them price controlled for 5 years when they're young, they haven't been beaten up. Isn't that the best possible scenario for a running back? And have we not seen in the last few years that having a star running back isn't a luxury, it's a necessity if you are going to contend. You have to have a CMC, you have to have a Barkley. The Bills would not have been a contender if they hadn't had James Cook at running back because we didn't have a wide receiver.
Over 90 yards, they didn't lose.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Jonathan Taylor, what he has done for the Colts, making them contenders, you have to have an elite running back if you are going to contend. And this is Jeremiah Love is as good, out of the box. He's going to start and he's going to do damage. He's so well put together. Like, he's versatile and powerful and terrifying. Everything you want from a running back. You can see him in running for the Titans, and it's going to feel, it's going to feel like Henry running through. Like, it's going to, it's going to be harkening back to when you were scared to play the Titans because of Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
and
back when he was.
But the question there is the Dolphins. Oh, sorry, not the Dolphins. The Jets. I think they should consider picking him at number 2. And
wow.
And I like. I'm absolutely.
If you go
serious.
back to what you're saying about you pick the best player in the draft, then he's probably the number 2.
Yeah, there's a chance that at the end of one season, people are going, "Is this guy the best player in the NFL?" Like, that's it's entirely possible. Or they go like, "Is this guy within a couple of years going to be like as good a player, as big a weapon as there is on offense in the NFL?"
Well, I think if the Titans take him at 4 or trade up and get him at 2 or 3 or whatever, I think and you mention it with Cam Ward being within his 5 years, you go running back and your quarterback, salary cap's no issues. Their coach is locked down now with Robert Saleh. I think they're contending not only in the South, but in the AFC to possibly go to the Super Bowl, because they've shown if you can make the most of your quarterback and your running back without cap issues, you can spend money elsewhere and really bring them in, and you've got a good head coach, you're going to go well. So I reckon the Titans in the next 4 or 5 years are going to be right up there.
You can definitely see it happening. Like, I'm a big believer of that as well. It's just interesting. I was just having a quick look while we were all chatting about like the previous first round draft pick for running back position. I'll just name through a couple of names. Obviously, we mentioned already Saquon Barkley. He went second, and now he is the Super Bowl champ. And then we talk about like the likes of Josh Jacobs, Najee Harris, Bijan Robinson, Jamar Gibbs, Ashton Genty. Like, these are some elite. Christian McCaffrey went 8th. Ezekiel Elliott. There are some big names that we still know now. They're not just like when you're saying like you shouldn't take a running back in the first round. These are players that have been on teams and have made differences. So you look at someone like Love going top 4. I can easily see it. I think it's a smart pick for the Titans.
Yeah, long-term pick. Boys, that's all from me. Do you guys have anything out of the first, maybe the second, if you want to dip into that's going to change a team's fortunes?
There are a lot of wide receivers. I will say that there are some really good wide receivers, both your field stretchers and your, more middle of the field slot receivers. There's a lot of teams that are going to solve a few problems at wide receiver. It's a good receiver draft this year.
And that's the one thing that Danny can really lean on, that the Eagles can solve their wide receiver problems in this draft. Well, boys, I just
wanted to say just one news nugget, and this is a Bills homer take, but I think there's a very good chance the Bills won't be picking on the first night of the draft, and they won't even be picking until the second half of the second night of the draft. Currently, Dexter Gordon negotiations have broken down with the Giants, and I reckon the Bills are going to restructure Deion Dawkins' contract and pick up Dexter Lawrence and solve their problem stopping the run. He is just such an insane talent. He's going to be expensive, but I feel like Brandon Beane, the GM at the Bills, there's pressure on him to get it done, and I don't think he is worried about mortgaging the future to actually get a Super Bowl now. This long-term shit, I don't think he cares about it as much anymore. So that's my little tip.
The Rams have shown that you just sell the house and just keep selling the house, and you'll be contenders most years as long as you've got a good quarterback. And rumors are Josh Allen's not bad, so
it's okay.
Keep him in the building, and you'll be cherry ripe, boys.
Did you see there was a stat this week that came out that he has the greatest success rate running the ball of any player in the history of NFL, not just quarterbacks, but running backs as well? Did we see that? You guys probably don't follow the same Twitter feed as I do you? No.
I was watching too many non-winning quarterbacks do else things. Perfect, boys. Danny, you did mention on the top that we've got a real juicy afternoon. We won't drop it too much, but definitely keep your eyes out for what we've got in the pipeline.
Go draft
Go
day.
football. Oh, go draft day.